Hi guys, so today, this is a continuation from my last video, which was my breastfeeding story, and this video is part 2, and it's kind of breastfeeding tips and things that kind of helped me when I was breastfeeding. Sebastian is here with me today. He's incredibly whingy. He's teething absolutely horrendously. He's got 2 teeth at the front and the rest are just kind of, they must be coming through because he's in absolute agony and been whinging and whining. So, and it's not funny, no. Anyway, okay, so my first tip for breastfeeding would be to arm yourself before when you're pregnant with all the facts about breastfeeding. And when I say that, I mean talk to breastfeeding mothers. Find out what the bad things were, what the negative things were, what the good things were. Kind of arm yourself with everything, not just the positives. Because if you arm yourself, I think, with the negatives, because there sometimes are, and there's no getting away from that with breastfeeding, then at least you know what to expect. One thing that I knew about beforehand but never really thought about until someone mentioned it to me was the fact that some babies are born with a tongue tie. And I was very lucky that a friend of mine had texted me when I was in hospital and had said, you know, do you think Sebastian has a tongue tie? Or have someone check to see if he has a tongue tie. If I hadn't have actually done that, then our breastfeeding journey would have ended on like day 2, because he had such a severe posterior tongue tie that he was unable to suck properly at all. So they sorted that out straight away. So if you find that your baby's, the latch is really bad, there's something not right, just push the hospital or healthcare providers, whoever, to check for a tongue tie and to get that sorted ASAP. The other thing I would definitely say is, if you are struggling with your latch in the hospital, you're not somewhere where there's support, if you can't, while you're kind of letting your nipples recover or while you're trying to kind of establish that or get help, then express as much colostrum by hand into a little cup and a syringe. At least then they're getting something rather than just kind of giving up there and then. Next thing I would say also is to reach out to as many people as you possibly can for practical help, and I mean lactation consultants or midwives. Here in the UK, the midwives can see you up to 20 days. I actually made use of that full 20 days because I was so kind of mentally poorly as well as physically and just not coping whatsoever. And the midwives were the ones who I actually went to a midwife-led unit to recover for a week after I had Sebastian, and it was there that they got my latch. Every time he latched on, they were there to make sure I was doing it properly. The other thing I would also recommend is reaching out to friends and to groups as well. If you have any breastfeeding support groups, anything like that, then reach out to those and make sure you kind of get to go and to attend and that kind of thing. Because that's something I didn't actually do, because if I'm honest, as a first time mum, I just was so tired I couldn't even bear the thought of even getting out of the house or getting in the shower, so it was difficult. And I guess that's where the kind of friends would come in, or the midwives would come in to come and see you at your home to make sure that you're getting on okay. Also, if you have a really massive supply and you're leaking everywhere on the first 6 weeks, just kind of go with it and make sure you get really good breast pads. I started off using bamboo breast pads that were like double bamboo, and I leaked through those, and they're supposed to be amazing. I ended up having to use disposables in the end, which again I leaked through quicker, but they had the kind of plastic backing or paper backing, so it wasn't as bad. Buy lots of clothes in that are kind of breastfeeding friendly. So I tend to wear like bigger tunics and vest tops, that kind of thing, because I was able to lift them up. Also, kind of when you're at home, practice feeding like how you would in public. And what I used to do is, if Sebastian's got his, I used to get my muslin and tuck it into the strap, and then that way you can kind of breastfeed quite discreetly. Also, if you feel really uncomfortable, hand pump. If you know, just use your hand, don't use an electric pump, and that's going to kind of just take a lot of the pressure off. When you're in the shower, make sure you kind of have your back to the shower, otherwise you're going to stimulate your supply, or the heat might stimulate your supply, and therefore you might produce more. So those are sort of little things you can do to kind of make sure you don't overstimulate supply too much. Also, don't rule out co-sleeping, if you can get if you're looking at kind of like sidecar, like if you're looking at sleeping arrangements for your baby and you're thinking about getting Moses or something like that, but you're planning to breastfeed, then I definitely would recommend looking at a sidecar or like a NCT co-sleeper or something like that, because then you can co-sleep and you can just roll over and you will get yourself more sleep, and also you usually find that your latch, it kind of improves. It's easier to feed, I found for myself, lying down. Some people can't, it really depends on you. But if you want to get more sleep whilst breastfeeding, definitely a co-sleeping is the way forward, I feel. Breastfeeding mothers that co-sleep get more sleep than if you are formula feeding or bottle feeding express milk, because by co-sleeping you just don't actually get out of bed, you kind of stay lying down, you're kind of dozing. But excuse me, but obviously if you've got to like make, I remember Chris gave Sebastian a bottle of express milk and he had to go downstairs and warm it, and it was just, by the time he got out of bed and went back to bed, it'd been like an hour. So definitely think about getting a co-sleeper. The other thing I would say as well is be mindful of some of the support groups online. And when I say online, I mean like forums and Facebook particularly. I went on Facebook on a breastfeeding support group, and I think Sebastian was about 3 months, so I've been exclusively feeding him for 3 months, and I just said I really would like to start thinking about introducing formula because my mood is terrible, blah blah. Explained my situation, and I was absolutely hounded by people who said that just by adding that one bottle my son's going to become obese and he's not going to have the right nutrition, and you know, you've come this far, don't give up now, which, yeah, that was kind of a positive thing, but you know, though I explained about my mood and stuff, nobody was kind of supportive. They were very negative towards me. It's not the same with all groups, I think it's just with some, but that was enough to kind of really shift my confidence. So just be mindful of that. You know, if you've got to do what you feel is right for you. If you feel that whether you've breastfed for a day, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, you have done amazing. Like, you have done amazing, because there's some mothers who don't even try to breastfeed, they just go straight on the bottle. But if you've tried, then that is amazing, and you've tried, and you should definitely give yourself credit for that. So, you know, don't beat yourself up for however long you've breastfed for, because you've tried and you've breastfed. So your baby is definitely going to benefit from even from 1 day, 6 weeks. You know, they've had something. So that's fab. Definitely, just bear that in mind. Just try and put a positive spin on it. I think, you know, I always say to people who, they were like, oh, I gave up after 3 weeks, and I think, you know, you've done amazing to try, because that first 3 weeks and the first 6 weeks, they're tough, they're really tough, and I think to get through the first few days is hard. So yeah, just praise yourself for every step of the way. Also, each step of the way, think about the kind of the positives of breastfeeding. They're the kind of things that kept me motivated. So the positive things of breastfeeding was you get more sleep, or at least I found I got more sleep. Your baby, the milk is catered to your baby, it's ready, warmed, it's there, you don't have to make a bottle, you don't have to buy anything, it's free, it's cheap, or cheap, it's free. You know, these are the things that I kept running over my head all the time that kind of kept me going, and or going as long as I could. Get a good breast pump. The best breast pump that I got was the Medela Swing breast pump. It's pricey, but it's amazing. You can build up a really awesome supply with that breast pump, and I ended up having milk that lasted me for quite a while. I still have a little bit that I use for things like when he's got a nappy rash or if he's got funny eyes, because breast milk is amazing for absolutely anything like that. It's great for your skin, it's brilliant on nappy rash, it's the best thing. When that runs out, I'm gonna be like, what do I do? Because I found it to be the best thing for nappy rash. I guess that's pretty much it for my breastfeeding tips. A lot of these I've probably said before in like loads of other videos, but I guess I'm trying to bring it from the point of view of a mother who does both. You know, I loved breastfeeding Sebastian when I did finally enjoy it, but the first step was really difficult. It was tough. And, you know, you have got a lot of hurdles. Some people don't have these hurdles. Some people can feed their babies very easily, straight away, bam. You know, no latch issues. It was just pretty straightforward. But some people don't have that, and you know, to overcome those hurdles can be tough. Bye to everyone.